it's not easy to film a hockey movie. Like I don't know if you guys expected sort of what we really got into, but it's a lot that goes into it. The angles, I couldn't even start getting into it. Just layers and layers and layers to it. And now we see it like all the time. We're doing productions all the time on the ice with big crews, big sets for whatever it might be, commercials, brands, advertisement, whatever. But now we're seeing it and it's like, it's not easy. Every set we're going to, George's hopping in and helping on a camera because like being able to skate, hold the cameras, maneuver them around, get the angles with the action, the fast pace, the pucks especially. Like there's a lot that goes into filming fast pace on the ice. It's not easy to do. And I think we nailed it pretty good because everything looks super clean. The movie looks incredible. So
Kian Fanya.
Welcome to this episode of the Late Game Podcast. I am co-creator, producer, actor Jeffrey M. Zucker, along with my beautiful friend Jeff Tyner, writer, director, editor of the Late Game.
Lovely to see you today, sir.
Likewise, sir. And we're super pumped. Hopefully the day we get this published is the day that we will finally have the Late Game available in Canada. So to our Canadian friends out there, we are apologetic for the delay, but we're really pumped to have it. So as of Tuesday, September 10th, you'll be able to rent and buy the Late Game movie on Apple TV. So go and check it out, please. We'd appreciate it. And then additionally to our friends in the U.S., in addition to where we've been on Prime, we'll be on Apple TV, we'll be on Fandango at home, we'll be available on a bunch of cable boxes on demand as well. So go to thelategame.com/stream if you want to take a look at those options. And excited to get this out to a wider audience. How you feeling about it, Tyner?
Super, super pumped to be available in Canada. Who would have guessed, 9 months ago that it would have been this tough to get a hockey movie in Canada? I think we kind of just assumed Canada wants it, so why would it be hard to get it on there? But thanks to all of your diligent work, I'm very excited to be available in the country of hockey. So, and yeah, we got a trip there upcoming too to celebrate the release. So very excited. We've got a lot going on.
Yes. So hopefully we'll be listening to this on Tuesday the 10th, and on Thursday the 12th, we'll be in Toronto to celebrate our Canadian release. We'll be at the Scotiabank Pond in Downsview at their Penalty Box Pub from 5 to 7. You can come meet Zac Bell, also known as Always Hockey. You can come meet us, as well as Sean Shapiro and Tyler Durham. We'll have some other hockey influencers and media personalities there as well. And we have some great brands that'll be hanging out, giving some stuff away too. We've got Gitch Sportswear, Blade Tech, and a couple others we're talking to. GP Sports Cards will be there. So it should be a really fun event. And hopefully people get a couple days to check out the movie and then can come hang out.
Yeah, and shout out to the Scotiabank Pond. It's such a cool facility, top to bottom. The ice there is awesome. It always holds a special place in my heart because we go to the Scotiabank Baycrest Pro-Am every year, and just like there's an extra layer to the ice out there for me personally, in that you don't see a lot of rinks let a lot of natural light in into the playing surface, and it just, I don't know, maybe this is me being old and appreciating natural light more. I don't know, but it's a cool wrinkle too. And what is it? 3 sheets, 4 sheets? It's awesome.
4 sheets. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's going to be a really fun place to do this at.
Yeah. It'll be a lot of fun. We're working on some new content too that you'll hopefully see on our YouTube channels and on various social platforms. And then right after Toronto, we're not going, but Tyler will be heading down to Stamford, Connecticut for the Northeast Sports Card Expo. We'll be sharing a table with our buddies at Skull and Steel Card Breaks. So come check it out. Meet Tyler, meet Travis, also known as Steel. Meet Hockey Dan, who's our card guru and has been in the videos with us. That should be a really fun event. Sorry that I can't make it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Let Tyler take the starring role. He's going to crush it.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely whether you're into cards or not, check Tyler out on the app Whatnot as Late Game Breaks. He's been going a few nights a week, and so far so good. It's a fun way to learn about cards, doing the live card breaks. And go back and check out our episode with Zach and Travis from Skull and Steel if you want to learn more about that. And we're going to have a lot more card content coming out. We've been working with Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast as well. Going to do some collaboration with them, and that'll take us back to Canada around November 7th or 8th, I think, for the Card Expo there. So definitely come in and check it out.
Oh, yeah, sounds like a good time.
So let's move into our beer league segment. We can talk about our Monday game, but did you have a game before that we haven't discussed yet?
No, I'm on a hiatus from Pizza Boys, where both teams are in a 3 to 4 week break, but one comes back on the 15th and then the other the next week. I'm not sure which one. Yeah. And I'm on the shelf anyway because of our Monday game.
Yes. So Monday's game, we had a 10 o'clock. It was, a playoff game for this season. And, I struggled to make it. Just like the late game, if you will, is very hard to make. As we all know, it's portrayed in our film. And I just, especially with kids, when you have kids, I get so tired, put them to bed, and it's can I really do it? But because I knew you were going and Reese was going and Bo was originally going, I was all right, I can do this. I haven't played in a while. I ended up missing last Friday's skate to an unforeseen circumstance and had to get on the ice. So was glad to get there. We did end up winning 5-2, including an empty netter.
And you scored a fucking dope goal. Let's leave with that.
I did score to make it 4-2.
I was almost hoping they would score awesome. One more goal, so you would get credit for the game winner. But I'm still proud of you.
They probably would have tied it at 3 if I hadn't scored that fourth one. So
I think so. It was a pivotal goal. Yeah, it was a tight game when you scored. So
awesome pass from Wade from behind the net. He was crushing it.
Dude, Wade is a beacon of sneaky offense. He's all in there, man. He's got
and he goes hard too. He's got that patience and he goes hard. I love it. And I know did you get 1 or 2 before your injury?
I got 1. I got a deflection goal from Addison. Oh, I might have assisted 1. I can't remember.
Well, you were looking good, and the other team was chippy and annoying, I thought overall.
They had a couple dudes who were really annoying, and I think otherwise it was pretty chill. But
sure.
The thing is,
2 guys in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I didn't exactly see what happened on your play. I just, I saw you in some pain and coming to the bench. Do you know what happened exactly?
Well, Addison fired me a good pass that I kind of pivoted and took it off the board. So I had a breakaway. I had the move I wanted to make. I knew I had someone coming in on me, but I still felt good to go left to right, go with a backhand, and some prick fucking 2-hands me right on the wrist. It's not even trying to hit my stick, hit the puck. No, he was going for my fucking wrist. And I dislocated this wrist when I was 14, 15, spent 7 months in a cast. I have a lot of scar tissue in the joint, and it thankfully wasn't broken, but I was convinced it was broken when it happened. Grade 2 sprain, a lot of swelling around the scar tissue there. Just annoying, just really fucking annoying. And then one of those little fuckers thinks it's cute to be like, oh, you need me to call you an ambulance? I could have reverted to a much younger version of myself then, but had to leave the game early, go to urgent care, all that bullshit. Just really irritating, but I'll just count my blessings that it's not broken.
Yeah. That's a frustrating part of wanting to keep playing is that you can still get hurt, and it's frustrating, especially when it happens in a reckless manner from the other side, which it seems like every team almost has that asshole or idiot in some capacity, and
fucking old and annoying, man. It was not a young guy either, it was a fucking adult, it's just
if it was somebody in their early 20s, all right, I give him a pass on being an asshole.
Yeah, it pisses me off. So I'm not in a good mood on it. I'm going to be out for a couple of weeks probably. I'm going to try to stay in shape in the meantime. We'll see.
Well, I'm confident. I'm confident in your ability to stay in good game shape. I'm sorry you have to miss some time. And I don't know why I just thought of it, but most of our games, when we're going through the handshake line at the end, especially when we win, I have a very strong desire to be Dr. John Calamino and promote, the way in the movie that my character is promoting his business in that line. I think about it every time in line. Like, should I say, "Oh, go check out the late game"? Like, well, but I'm like, are they just gonna associate the late game with annoyance? Like, especially if they lost. Like,
Yeah, it's a delicate tightrope. I don't think there's any true great answer there because you tell one of these fucking losers to go watch it and they'll probably just review bomb it because their lives are meaningless. But yeah, let's also mention that they had the ugliest, stupidest fucking jerseys we've ever seen in our lives too. Can't even pick a fucking color scheme.
yeah, there's people out there like, oh, let's just do silly colors so it looks silly, but like it was just it was like light blue and yellow and then bright green numbers. Like, even if they just changed the numbers, it would have helped. Like, it was painful.
Yeah. We can move on. I'm getting hot just thinking about them. Fucking nerds.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, another thing I thought is, I've been wearing the purple gear for Beer League for at least a few months, probably more, and I don't get chirped on it, and I'm surprised because I'm not very good, and I've got this like really nice matching gear, and like I like that I have, I've got a late game sticker on one side, I got the poly sticker on the other side, so I have plans for these chirps, like to promote the movie. Like I was kind of asking for it. I thought like having this matching gear, but like I somehow haven't gotten chirped for. I get chirped for things, but not for the gear, and I'm just surprised.
That is surprising. I think you just pull it off so good. They're like, damn, I can't talk shit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it does look really good, but well, if anyone out there is listening that plays me, it's okay. You can chirp me for it. I get it, and I kind of want to be so I can talk about the movie. So, at least I'd like the question of like, why do you have this purple and yellow gear? Oh, I am in a movie
need a patch
that I'd like for you to watch.
Maybe you need a patch for your jerseys that says "Ask me about my gear" or "Chirp me about my gear," and then you can get it going.
Oh my god, that's amazing! Oh, dude, that would be great. That could do it. I mean, maybe I'll add to the many late game.
I think so. I think
that's awesome. Well, I guess next week I haven't looked to see what our time is, but the Seal Hams or whatever will be back in the playoffs, game 2. I know you will not be playing, sadly. And then we'll be going to Toronto. We're leaving on Wednesday, so that's coming up quickly.
Looking forward to that, for sure.
And let's see. Yeah, definitely check out the merch on our website, everybody listening, store.thelategame.com. We've got some fun stuff on there, including our hats that are a lot of fun. We'll be adding some new stuff there coming soon. And what have you been watching lately?
Megan and I got Megan on The Sopranos, so we've been going hard on that. We're almost done through season 2. It's been a little while since my last watch, and I think the more you rewatch The Sopranos, the more of a pure comedy it becomes because like the tension gets removed a little bit. Because I think if you bring up The Sopranos to someone who just doesn't know about it, they assume this like heavy crime drama, and they're all just so fucking stupid. It's hilarious. And then I mentioned on last pod that Meg and I went to go see the Shaun of the Dead re-release at AMC, and man, I never got to see that one on the big screen. I watched that for the first time, renting it when I was in high school, and it was. I hold it in such high regard, and it was even better than I could have imagined. It was so many more details I'm picking up on the big screen. It's just perfection. It was such an accomplishment for that to be Edgar Wright's like first big movie, and the scale of it is so impressive. The moving pieces, the coordination, the details packed into the background of every frame. I was a pure joy the whole time we were there. I could have sat through it 2 more times. It was awesome.
I love that. And yeah, I mean, you talked about the other day about how it kind of inspired you and showed you what's possible in some ways, right?
Yeah, I would say like the 2 biggest movies I think that made me want to be a filmmaker was Clerks. Made it feel attainable that a movie could kind of have these silly small stakes in it, and as a disgruntled customer-facing service employee at the time at my dad's hardware store, like I really resonated with the attitudes towards customers. But then on the flip side of that, Shaun of the Dead was like, I'm not trying to put Kevin Smith down, but like an elevated version of that. Of you can like, because Clerks had your Star Wars conversations, and then this was like um maybe a little less on the nose, but just like you can like kind of put your favorite parts of all of your favorite movies into your own movie, and that's a movie. I was like, that's so cool, and it just like I think it kind of kicked up my real like extra nerdy love of movies, and like going on IMDb and looking at trivia and looking through buying DVDs and watching the extras commentaries. Like Shaun of the Dead was really that linchpin movie of those. And then I was lucky enough to get to see Hot Fuzz in theaters in '07 when that came out. And like I was kind of on my way from there. So yeah, Edgar Wright, Kevin Smith, two of my favorite filmmakers. And it was just I was grinning the entire time we were in the theater on Friday. It was awesome.
Very cool. Well, glad to hear about that. And on my end, continuing to watch Sunny that our friend Joanna's in. The second to last episode of the season was like all about her robot character. It was really fun. And the season finale, I believe, came out yesterday, so I haven't gotten to watch that yet. No word yet on renewal. It's very good. I would be very sad if it didn't get renewed. I'd be surprised just because I feel like Apple knows when they have a good thing. They don't. They act like they care about their spending, but like Apple shouldn't need to care too much to keep a good show going, and at least give it more legs. I mean, I'm curious to see how the season ends and like what kind of doors it leaves open, but crossing my fingers for that cast and crew.
Yeah, I feel like I've read that they're going to pull their spending back on TV, but I just always think Apple's kind of funny in that, like, yeah, we're this like $1 trillion tech company that, oh yeah, we'll just dabble in like, you know, high art TV and like really good stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, it's just a hobby for us, is the kind of the way it feels. So yeah, hopefully that can stay going. Cause I mean, For All Mankind, that's Apple, right? And they gave that 4 seasons, right? Like that.
It's still going, yeah. I fucking love that show.
If Sudeikis was on board, I mean, I feel like there's conflicting reports about this like new Ted Lasso thing coming out. But I think if Sudeikis wanted to make 15 seasons of Ted Lasso, they would have let him, like, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that platform keeps taking shape.
Yeah, really, really hopeful. And I didn't get a ton of other watching time last week, although we did show our boys a kids movie that Jess and I love, Secret Life of Pets. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Is that the one that was
really
first Louis C.K. and then recast as Patton Oswalt?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember you telling me you saw that one in theaters and it was a blast.
Yes, it's so fun. It's so cute. The dogs are amazing. Like, it's just so silly. And like, there's this very large dog that looks like a very big version of our dog Lincoln that and it's just a really fun movie. And so excited for the boys to get into that and hopefully watch it a few times, because I mean, we've been watching the Mario movie a lot, and apparently it's leaving soon on Netflix, I saw, so I bought it on Apple just in case. But I mean, it is very well done.
Yeah. I always have a smile when I hear that anyone's kid like watches the same thing hundreds of times, because that just brings me back to when I was a kid, the local video store. They just eventually gave me this Tom and Jerry VHS and Return of the Jedi because I rented it enough times to pay for it 10 times over. So they just finally gave it to me. And it makes me happy to know that practice continues, that like, when a kid likes a movie, let's just keep queuing it up. I love that.
Yeah, it's like even in the world of where you have unlimited options, like I'm glad that still happens. Um, I feel like an old man when I'm like, oh, we used to only be able to watch what was on, or like we'd go on a trip and we'd have one VHS, and now they have everything at their fingertips at every moment, and it's like, get this on now. So it's interesting, but I agree. I'm glad that like the watching over and over thing is still a thing. And I mean, for me growing up, like especially Mighty Ducks, all three of them, but mostly two, watching over and over. Now, speaking of hockey movies, Soon we are going to start a series on this podcast where we watch a hockey movie, talk about it with somebody that's, a friend or somebody from the movie. We watched Slapshot this week. We'll be discussing it with our boy Proton, right?
Yep, I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig into some of these. We'll get into all the hockey movies over time, and I feel like they don't get talked about enough, so it'll be cool.
Definitely don't. Very excited for this. Like, this was when we talked about starting this podcast. I was always like, yeah, well, once we kind of run out of steam interviewing people from the movie, we can always transition to this, because my favorite kinds of podcasts are ones that just kind of focus on one movie per episode. And yeah, more eyes on hockey movies. I think it's funny too, because I had every intention. I mentioned this on the Beers in the Lot episode I did, that like I had every intention of like watching all of these hockey movies before we made ours, to inform on decisions, what to do, what not to do. And we were just so busy, staying in our own lane, that I just never got around to it. So with a lot of these movies, the only hockey movie I've watched since we made ours is like 3/4 of D3, when we were all hanging out in Denver. So like, I'm very excited to kind of watch all of these with fresh eyes, and we're going to go chronologically in order of release. So Slapshot is number 1. And a little sneak preview. I would say you expect a lot of it to be rough around the edges, I think, verbiage wise, but the hockey itself, like, I mentioned this to the Beers and Lot guys. I remember the hockey being a lot better than you would think the first ever hockey movie's action being. Like they couldn't fake it. They got everybody in it can play like ours. It seems like I just can't believe Paul Newman can move around like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I hadn't watched it in a while. The hockey's better than I remember, and it was cool to see. So I'm excited to dig into it. And also, yeah, I mean, now we have this new perspective of like, hey, we've done one of these. You actually have a reason as a listener that likes hockey movies to listen to what we think of Slapshot.
Yeah, and like, I think in almost all these cases, whether it's a quote unquote good or bad movie, I think we're going to celebrate every one of these. Like, I'm a big believer of just like, I think the worst thing a movie can be is like forgettable and irrelevant. Like, I'm usually on the team of just like, if there's even one character, sequence, scene that I can latch onto as being really weird or really fun, then that's like worth the movie's existence to me. So like, I just think we're going to be able to tap into a lot of weird things through all of these movies. So I'm really pumped for it.
Yeah, agreed. And then on today's episode, though, we've got Zac Bell, also known as Always Hockey, who plays Casey Jackson in the film. It was great to finally get him to sit down for a podcast, and as we lead into the launch in his home country of Canada.
Yeah, it was good to see him. It's funny how, we made this movie with a bunch of friends who aren't like working actors, but like, I've seen Zac Bell the least, like in person, but I've seen him pop up the most, whether it's commercials or like a video trending on Reddit, or because, I mean, it's easy to see him on Instagram because we follow him, but like, I love when I see him independent of our circles. And like, I saw him on the Top Talent subreddit one of these days, just doing his thing. And it's wild to see. It's pretty cool that he's in our movie.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And it's been cool to see how his career has grown since we shot the movie in 2022. And he's been going to all sorts of NHL events and, being in commercials, like you said. So we dig into all of that, dig into his hockey history, his experience shooting the late game. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Again, for those in Canada, September 10th, available on Apple TV. And here is Zac Bell. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes as adults, we can lose the curiosity we had as kids. There are things like the guitar that I've always wanted to learn, but life has gotten in the way. Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back-to-school era can come at any age. Therapy has been tremendously beneficial for me, and I think can help most people, traumatized or not, be the best versions of themselves. If you're thinking of starting therapy, try BetterHelp. It's online, convenient, and flexible with your schedule. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. Zach, how's it going?
What's going on, boys? How are we today?
Doing great. It's good to see you, man. Been a while.
Yeah,
It's
it's
been
been
a
too
while,
long.
eh? I guess we'll be seeing you next week.
Yeah, exactly. So, the late game is finally coming out in Canada. We're really pumped. Tuesday, September 10th, the day we hope to release this podcast. It'll be available on Apple TV for rent and purchase. And we're doing an event in Toronto together on Thursday, September 12th. So hopefully everyone listening wants to come and hang out with you at 5 o'clock at Scotiabank Pond on Thursday the 12th.
That's awesome. I used to play out of the pond too for a few years down there when I was in high school. So used to go to Blythe, the school right across the street there at the pond. So play a lot of tournaments at the pond, GTHL tournaments, preseason tournaments, lots of stuff. So it's nice to get back out there. I don't think I've been out there in years actually at the pond. So it'll be exciting.
Nice. Yeah, that's good to hear. It's kind of like a full circle moment. And
A little bit, yeah.
we've had the film out in the U.S. since March. Been trying our hardest to get it in Canada. It's finally coming September 10th. How are you feeling going into that?
Oh, I'm so excited. So excited. All my friends will get to see it. All my family members. We have like our close family members and friends. We've been able to see it, obviously. But other than that, like, my main friends and everyone in Canada, big following over here in Canada, obviously, right? And haven't been able to show anyone out here yet. So this is pretty exciting. It's obviously hockey film, right? It needs to be released in Canada. It's going to be a big hitter. I'm super excited.
Yeah, we're really excited. We think it'll be a really cool moment for the brand, finally getting the hockey movie in the hockey country. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. And I'd love to go into kind of your experience making the late game. Like, I know I reached out to you guys, I forget how long before, but tell me about, when you first heard about it, what you were thinking.
How did you come across me to ask me to be a part of the film? How did that?
I mean,
I don't think I've ever asked you.
Yeah, I was a fan of yours, followed you online and, thought it'd be really cool to get you in our film. Just, it's a hockey movie. Why not have a guy that can do all this crazy shit? And, I'd been talking to some guys involved with Chicklets that knew you and knew Brody, your manager. And so I think Jeff Jacobson probably introduced us to Brody or maybe to you directly. I don't even recall. And I know we sent you guys a script and, said we were thinking of you for the Casey role. And we just were excited to even be able to ask.
Oh, it was awesome. I remember vividly when you sent the script over originally. I was just like, this role is sort of meant for me. It was just sort of similar to a situation I was going through at home. I just stopped playing junior hockey, just transitioning into, this stuff, and just sort of came home. I was in that in between. I wasn't fully committed to, retiring from hockey yet. So I still sort of in the back of my head thought, I might go back and play and this and that. So I just sort of felt connected to the character in that sense. And it was just a no-brainer for us to be involved and help bring this thing to life, help promote this thing as well. And just something that we can always share. It's always, we can show our family. I'll show my kids one day, our first experience making a movie, especially a hockey movie. There's not enough of them out there. So it was just something that was near and dear to our heart. And it was our first time sort of being on set with everyone and just for hours on end, days on end, weeks on end, and everyone just working towards, the same common goal and creation. It was just a very unique atmosphere that we'd never been a part of previously. So it was awesome. It was an amazing experience. And I wish we could do it again, man. Honestly, it was insane.
Oh yeah, that was the best. And when you were interested, that we were certainly excited. It was fun kind of working with you on some of the Zoom reads beforehand, and then you came down to join us. What did you expect? Going to Charleston, going to the Ice Palace. Did you know what you were getting into? Was it different when you showed up than what you thought?
I had absolutely no idea, and we'd never been to South Carolina either, and I didn't really know. Well, honestly, I never knew any players who came from South Carolina. So I was just sort of like, I was interested to see what the local hockey dynamic was in South Carolina. And it was pretty awesome, man. It was warm weather. You guys hooked us up with golf during the set too. So it was a pretty amazing experience. And even when we went back the second time, it was just incredible. We love South Carolina now. But honestly, had no idea what to expect. We were just walking in. We knew you guys were awesome. So we knew it would go smoothless regardless of the situation. So it was perfect. And everyone was great. Even the extras we brought on, the kids from, the local hockey programs, everyone was awesome. Everyone was just willing to help and just put in their time and effort. So it was incredible. Such a good group of people.
Yeah, it was certainly one of my favorite aspects was just everybody working together, caring about the same thing. I hadn't in my life really experienced I'm just going to take 2.5 weeks and only do this, and there's literally no time for anything else.
Literally 2.5 weeks though. 18, 19-hour days, eh? Oh my goodness. That was pretty crazy. I remember what was like the second or third day we're on set, and we did like a real late one, and we ended up walking out of the arena at like 6:30 in the morning while the figure skaters were coming in to practice the next morning. I was just like, man, we were putting in work. It was awesome.
And you mentioned not being familiar with like the Charleston and South Carolina hockey communities, and you were so generous to like hang out with a bunch of the kids and like go on the ice with them during their practice. What did you think of, what you found for, hockey community in the South in this, small place?
Awesome little community, actually. We need more hockey arenas out there, more teams, but it's all absolutely amazing. It was awesome to see. And even doing the show at the Stingrays game, I didn't realize how much of a East Coast following your team has, and it's pretty awesome. I guess that would be the Stingers would be the bigger team in the area, right?
Yep, they're the oldest team remaining in the ECHL. They started in 1993, and become a household name in the ECHL. Stand for, I think, for excellence. My family is longtime owners. We're now minority as of a few years ago, but the Stingrays were a huge part of my growing up. I grew up at the Ice Palace and at the Stingrays games. So, I mean, just being able to bring this experience back to it was really, really cool. And then to get you on the ice at the Rays game was awesome. And, it was being able to show our trailer to that crowd. It was just, Tyner and I both grew up going to those games. So it was kind of like a full circle moment.
Full circle moment for you guys too, eh? Just sort of being able to see it on the screen and the whole arena packed out. That's a beautiful barn, by the way, too. For an East Coast rink, that is a beautiful barn.
Yeah, no, we love it. It was a good place to grow up. I mean, it opened in 93. They haven't changed it a lot, but I mean, I guess they've done a little bit here and there, but not the actual like interior bowl hasn't really changed.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. It was an awesome time, guys. Anytime we can get on the ice and connect with kids from any sort of hockey communities, is the goal of what we do. Just trying to grow the game, put smiles on faces. So definitely puts a smile on my face. So continue doing it.
I'm glad that the first part of your trip, I'm glad that it went well, because I think we initially had you down for like 5 or 6 days and you ended up staying for like 10 or 11. And that was awesome. We got to like throw you in some more scenes. And, you got to hang out with some of the kids in the community and stuff like that. Obviously I think it was probably more enjoyable, even though it was more work than we anticipated, more enjoyable than anyone anticipated. And, is that part of why you stuck around?
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't work, and we're already here dedicated to this project. We saw the vision and, we believed in what we were creating here. And it was just so much fun. Like, we absolutely had to stay and get as much camera time as we could and help out in any ways we could. We had Jord over there too. He played an extra character for us and was pushing with the cameras and, always working. So it was just an awesome collective effort. And of course, we had to stay to the finish. We couldn't just go for 4 days and bow out on you guys now,
Yeah, no, we appreciate it.
Yeah, it really made a difference, for sure. Like, I can't imagine if you were only there for the 5 days, it would have been a much worse movie. And yeah, shout out to Jordan, dude. Talk about like low-key MVP, man. He was game for everything. I'm glad we were able to give him some featured moments, so can't say enough good stuff about Jordan too. You guys were awesome.
We didn't know Jordan before really, and you had him with you and he was so helpful. He was starting off working on crew and then we're like, actually, let's throw you in the movie on the Genos, and he was just game for it, and we really appreciate it. We're glad he was there.
Yeah, guy's a solid hockey player too, so it was flawless for him to get in there, and especially skating around with the cameras and stuff too. It helps. It's not easy to film a hockey movie. Like I don't know if you guys expected sort of what we really got into, but it's a lot that goes into it. The angles, I couldn't even start getting into it. Just layers and layers and layers to it. And now we see it like all the time. We're doing productions all the time on the ice with big crews, big sets for whatever it might be, commercials, brands, advertisement, whatever. But now we're seeing it and it's like, it's not easy. Every set we're going to, George's hopping in and helping on a camera, because like being able to skate, hold the cameras, maneuver them around, get the angles with the action, the fast pace, the pucks especially. Like there's a lot that goes into filming fast pace on the ice. It's not easy to do. I think we nailed it pretty good because everything looks super clean. The movie looks incredible. So
I think so, man. Shout out to Finn. He was really, really locking it down on that dolly.
Yeah, his moves were impressive, like skating around with that dolly. And then we didn't use his prowess in this enough, but Noel did the camera on ice for 3 Ice, and so he's used to that fast-paced camera.
He was important to have out there.
Yeah, Noel and Jordan kind of similar paths of we think they're going to be on the crew mostly, and then they end up having kind of some big spots in the movie. So that's always cool to see that quick on the feet stuff.
Yeah, Noel had some real good stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. He went from crew member to like, the poly star.
Yeah, no, he actually did. That was hilarious.
So I'm curious just about, your hockey story a little bit. Like I've heard a little bit from you and just checking out your stuff over the years, but like, I know you started doing the Always Hockey stuff when you were a kid. Talk about your relationship with hockey over the years.
Yeah. I, obviously born and raised in Ontario here in Muskoka, cottage country. Big hockey family. Bleed blue, Maple Leafs, right? So actually, I'm go Red Wings though. So I sort of got.
I was gonna say, yeah, I thought you were a Wings fan.
I know, but growing up around it, you're surrounded by it, and obviously, playing growing up with with all my friends, and I played double A hockey, played triple A hockey. I played a bit of junior B and junior A down in the States as well, and then I ended up taking a few head injuries there in my I guess 2019. So when I was 19, my second year of junior, started my second year, and just sort of had a bit of a battle through my recovery process through that. I think I was darkroomed for like 4 or 5 months, just having, CT scans, going through with the doctors, the whole 9 yards through the recovery process. And then I just started picking up filming again because I created this platform, Always Hockey, when I was, I think I started posting when I was 12, 13. And it blew up pretty big by the time I was 13. We had like 125,000 followers on Instagram. And this was back in like, if I was 13, it would have been 2013. This was like very new. Hockey community wasn't really existent at the time. Nobody was posting videos of them training in hockey or shooting pucks or any of these things. It just didn't exist. So it was just sort of something that was an outlet for me. And, I always had this ability to sort of, do these moves. And it was something I just loved to do. I was an only child. So I just, religiously play hockey with myself in the driveway, bouncing the ball on my stick, just doing whatever I could, just creating new moves. My dad always has good hands growing up too. So, he was always stick handling with me, playing one-on-one, never going easy on me, right? So it was just sort of something I grew up, having a love for the game and a passion for. So through the recovery process, I just started filming the videos again, and they just started to take off, and people really started to gravitate towards them. And especially when I started to share my story about why, I'm filming videos again, it's because I'm injured right now, trying to work back to be healthy enough to play. So that was sort of where I started filming again. And then that same year, just as I started to get healthy enough to, start working out and training again, COVID hit. So it was the whole world shut down. And then all of a sudden my videos really changed. And then all of a sudden everyone's watching you on the internet because there's no pro athletes, there's no entertainment, there's no movies, there's nothing. The whole world just stopped. So it was all of a sudden like me and my driveway just became entertainment for everyone, people outside of hockey too. And then we started, crossing the videos with other sports, and then we'd link up with golf guys and soccer players, and we do basketball videos, and we did a few soccer ones that really took off. And then once we started to do that and sort of position ourselves as like a mainstream lane for people to watch us as like just the art that I create, and then us to bring people into our sports, because hockey is the root of everything we do, right? Always hockey. So that was just sort of, yeah, I know I'm blabbing on about it now, but it's just been an incredible journey. And that's just sort of how it sort of unfolded there. But I won't get fully into the details on it. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. Now we've been full time, for the last 3 years, traveling around, doing everything we can to grow the game, living the dream. So it's been pretty incredible. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Dude, I think it's a good point, like doing the other sport crossovers. That's a good way to get eyes on hockey because it is kind of slept on by the masses.
Yeah, hockey's a small niche, right? You can only grow so big, so you gotta find ways to bring people into the game. So that's just sort of what we do, put ourselves out there. And it's also nice when, we're at NHL events and we have like, might have a boxer out there on the ice who's never skated before. It's a nice way for them to lean on us so we can bring them into the content, make them feel comfortable, on the ice, around the hockey guys, in that dynamic, that setting that I'm sure most of them are never in, right? So it's just what we try to do to grow the game.
NFL Week 1 is here, and a new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown. Check out the lines and odds on the DraftKings Sportsbook app for upcoming games. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium on us. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love the aspect of your brand of growing the game. I mean, it's something that's always been really important to me. I think I mentioned to you, we're sponsoring a golf tournament for Hockey Unlimited here, September 30th in the Denver area, and they help underprivileged kids play hockey. And, when I first ran into them, I was like, yes, I want to help this. Like, hockey is so awesome and fun, and it sucks that it has high barriers to entry because it's expensive. So I want to do everything I can to get people to look at it, get people on the ice. And, I love that you're about that as well.
Absolutely. Like I didn't come from money. So it was, my parents always made sure that I had the proper equipment and things that were needed, no matter how hard times were. And, it was just something that obviously we know the boundaries and barriers to hockey. And that's the main thing why we're trying to grow the game, just trying to work in all the things that we're involved with through our brand and the different foundations and things that we're setting up. And even the campaigns we do during the winter, and just try to bring gear, and we bring brands back to our hometown, and we do stuff here just so we can give back to the community and hook up the local teams. Right. So that's just, it's something that's always on my mind. It's a focus for us, and it's going to be a focus, for however long I want to do this, which is the rest of my life. So no, exactly, Jeff. And we'll have to talk about that tournament. I want to get out there with you guys. We've been golfing pretty much every day now this summer. So it's been a big part of my life now.
Very cool. Yeah, no, we'd love to have you out here and record some stuff and help some kids play hockey.
That'd be awesome.
So Always Hockey, you talked about kind of doing this stuff, hopefully your whole life. And so what do you see for the future of your brand? Are there like different things that you want to do, different outlets you want to hit? Do you want to be in more movies? Hopefully we'll make some more movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I had an amazing experience with the acting. And since then we've done a bunch of different TV commercials, and we just filmed another one with Hyundai. That was a big production. It took a few days on set, and hundreds of people coming through, right? So shooting pucks at cars and whatnot. So there's a lot of different things. But no, it was just funny too to look back at when we first filmed it. Even like, gosh, I think 3 or 4 months after, me and George were just sitting down after we did a few other different things, and we're just looking at it like, man, we've come so far from like how nervous we were from the first day, like to try to act a role. Even though I act every day of my life, essentially, it's still, when you're plugged into that dynamic and you're on camera and you got to hit the lines and do it, it's like, it's such a different dynamic. But it was something that just helped us so much in everything we do now, just being comfortable, speaking to people and whatnot. Like, even before that movie, that was sort of, before we started filming the movie, that was sort of one of the bigger things that we did right after COVID. So before that, most of the time, it was just me spinning the stick in front of my camera in the driveway. And then all of a sudden it was, now we're doing NHL events live in front of, 17,000 people. And it's a very dynamic shift there. Right. So just like things like the late game, like filming the movie, the process that we went through was just like such a big confidence builder just for us and what we do every day now. So it was just funny to look back and see like some of the scenes too. I'm like, oh, I wish I could have redone that scene and acted way better, but it's just the authenticity of it.
I feel the same about my scenes.
You feel the same about some of them?
Yeah, about some of my scenes, I'm saying, just because as an actor, I think that's normal. You're gonna do what you do, and you're always gonna critique yourself. But I think everybody watching it doesn't think about that. So
no, exactly right.
And you mentioned the NHL stuff. Like, it's been so cool to see you and some of the other people in sort of the online hockey community get embraced by the NHL, starting to get embraced by other leagues. Like, talk about that. You've gotten to go to some really cool NHL events and be on the ice.
Yeah, we actually we did a cool one last year too. We went to Sweden for the World Juniors, and then when we were out there, we had like Frölunda and oh gosh, I'm gonna forget now. Anyways, we had a few of the SHL teams just Obero just invite us out to skate with their players and film with we filmed with Jonathan Leckermacki like the day after he got the MVP of the World Junior Championships. So like just all these different dynamics, going to see all the fan bases in Sweden. Like I didn't really expect to see that, to have kids know who we are in Europe, type deal. But it was absolutely insanity. Like it was mass following over there. It was awesome just to see everyone over in Europe and Sweden, Scandinavia. But that's what we want to do. We want to go back out there as well. We want to do some hockey camps out there. We're doing 2 hockey camps. We're rolling out this year. We're doing one in Minnesota and in North York, Ontario this year, which will be big. The Zac Bell Cups, which will be sweet. But going back to the NHL stuff, yeah, it's been incredible. The league just, going back to when I first started this as a kid, it was always my vision and my purpose to sort of create this lane for us to be involved with the league, to have them recognize what we do and how we grow the game. And especially with the blow up of social media and COVID just advancing it, there's been a shift. There's a lot of people who watch us more than they know about NHL hockey players or legends of the game or whatever it may be. There's just this big shift in social media, and I just saw how valuable it is to growing the game or providing any sort of like happiness to somebody or just providing content that has value. Especially at the end of the day, there's just so much content out there now for kids and people, and not a lot of it is great for you. It's not good examples out there. So, we just want to be that safe spot for people. We don't talk about politics. We don't use profanity. We don't do anything. It's just pure hockey, love of the game. It's just the art that I create. I just try to put a smile on anyone's face who comes across it, right? Whether you like hockey or you don't, or you've never even seen snow, right? It's just the art of what we do, essentially. So, yes, it's nice to see that the league now finally embraces us, right, and the other creators, and now we have this smaller hockey community, but it's growing every day with new people hopping on doing their stuff. Like pro hockey players are retiring and starting to film YouTube videos now. Like it's a very different world we're living in 2024, and it's just going to continue to advance and grow. So we just want to make sure we're keeping the best examples possible and just providing content that not only do I love but other people continue to love. So, and the kids still love it, so get reminded every day. I love it.
It's crazy how much the game's changed in a certain way of like, I'll see stuff on Instagram. Kids, I would have never imagined seeing hands that good at like the peewee level, like the skill level just keeps climbing. And I think a lot of it is what you're doing of like, you're making this stuff accessible. So a kid scrolling on his phone gets an idea watching you do something. And then before you know it, he's pulling it off in a game. It's just like the skill level is so, it just keeps climbing. I think it's so awesome for the sport.
It's one of those like those human nature things, right? When you see it and then it becomes possible and everyone can do it type deal, right? So it's just sort of like when I was a kid growing up watching Datsuk highlights religiously, or like Thomas Yurko stick handling videos. Like there's a few different prospects who had a couple videos on YouTube where the teams would put it together in the locker room and he'd be like moving the puck on his shaft of his stick or whatever. So there was always like, I'd see that and I'd be like, oh, like how can I expand on this? How can we create something different? How can we do this? And just through, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of practice by myself, just working on these moves, you just sort of develop this rhythm of muscle memory, and then you can just sort of expand from there. And then also I grew up playing hockey, so it wasn't just like a big thing for me was trying to bridge the gap between someone who's just like stick handling and doing trick shots and someone who actually understands hockey and knows how to play the game. So that was sort of where I wanted to bridge that gap as well, and like show people that you can play hockey and then this can help develop your hands and your cognitive ability with the puck and your confidence and what you can do with it. But like also adding the performance aspect of me spinning the stick 50 times crazily, as fast as I can, and then catching the puck on the knob of the stick. Like just the stuff like that to, again, show the art that I do, I like to create, but also show people like, hey, this is different than hockey. This is an entertainment value, but it's also your skills. Like you can universally apply it to anything you're doing on the ice. But it's that was just a big thing for us. Was just try to bridge that gap and show people you can play hockey and you can learn to do these awesome moves, and it's not gonna hurt your ability to play hockey. I don't know. There's always this thing like people think, oh, you're doing you must suck at hockey. Like doesn't make any sense, right? Like why not teach Connor McDavid how to do this stuff?
There's this old school mentality that like hockey's supposed to be a certain way. Yeah, there's like that old school let's always do it this way. And I like that, you're changing the conversation a bit around that. Like you said, doing this, all these cool skills and stuff doesn't mean that you don't want people playing hockey. You know what I mean? Like it can be part of it. So I think it's really cool. And I like that how he weaved it in the movie. You got to show off some fun moves.
That was my favorite part, just doing the moves. It's awesome. Poor Sean Shapiro in there.
Yeah, and Sean's going to be with us in Toronto. You can embarrass him a little bit more.
Let's go. Tell him to bring the gear.
Oh, he will.
Yeah,
okay,
he's coming.
I thought he was going to pull a fast one and forget it.
Yeah, no, we'll make sure he's got it.
Awesome.
And it was
that's tough to be in the goalie gear all that time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was a pro at getting out of it though.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah.
And with that, a lot of us on the set, like when you're an actor on a movie set, a lot of it's sitting around waiting for stuff to happen. And it was really fun, like watching you mess around, you and Jordan, like having met Chris Curtis on set and like you guys messing around. We had a lot of fun entertainment from that in that regard.
It was contagious too. You had Finn really was working on his Zac Bell moves when we would have some downtime too. It was awesome. Like Finn was like a kid in a candy store because he hadn't played in a little while. So it was like when he had a little bit of downtime, he was going for it. It was little skinny jeans on. I love it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and that's funny. I totally bleeped on that one. That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, he was all over it. His hands were pretty good too. He was all right.
For real.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, for real. For being rusty. Yeah, he had it, man.
I think he was a righty though, and he was using the lefty stick, so I don't think it helped him. Or maybe it was
killer backhand though.
Yeah, killer backhand for sure. Especially with my banana hook curve on that thing.
And so now the movie, it's going to be out in Canada, as we mentioned. Like, how are you hoping for people to respond? What do you want people to take away from it?
I don't think I could even give you an answer there. I don't think that's up for me to decide. I think everyone will take something different from it, no matter what it would be. There's so many different lines and different connection points with, people who are like beer hockey or beer league hockey and everything else. Like just hockey in general, being that atmosphere of with your buddies. Like there's just so many things that are relative to it. It's just real. It really is just like real. Like this is sort of what, everyone has that one guy and on the team, everyone has the other guy who's trying to hop in, and there's just so many different connection points. I don't want to like give too many examples of the movie because I don't want to spoil it, but it's very relatable in every sense, really. So I'm excited to just see how people think. I'm excited to see what my family and friends really think because that's what means a lot to me. So I want to see what they think of my acting, and I want to see what they think of the ways that we put the shots together because I think like the actual gameplay was so clean. Like the way that it was filmed, the transitions, it was really good. It was fast. I really enjoyed it. I thought it looked incredible. And I think that was one of the things that we were really focusing on when we were going into it. If I remember correctly, was you guys were saying you wanted to focus on the actual gameplay and have it actually look good. Not like, the old Mighty Ducks version when they weren't really. There's some spots that are like, okay, you know what I mean, right? So yeah.
That was a top priority for us for sure.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that. I think the response from that is going to be great. I think it's just such a relatable movie. It's so funny. It's there's some skill in there too. There's a lot of funny spots. It's good. Everyone played their roles so perfectly. So
good. And like it's a bummer. Like with spoilers, I don't want to spoil anything either. But you really elevated the movie in terms of you can do things that I wouldn't have been able to script before meeting you. But also like we changed some stuff. And you were like, this is what I do. I should probably do X, Y, Z. And I was like, dude, you're right. Of course. So I know we had to rejigger some stuff on the fly, but like, I'm so glad you spoke up because it's better than it was as scripted. So I wish I could go into more detail. I don't want to spoil it for the Canadian listeners, but you make the movie better. And that's, it's awesome to see the final product.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes, I remember we were talking about a few of those moments, like a few of the plays where, the guy's cutting off like the line the wrong way, or like someone who knows hockey will understand like, oh, that's a mess up or whatever, right? So just those little things, just so we're all aware, and everything gets so jumbled too, right? We're 2 weeks on set and so many hands on deck, and we're always adding things constantly. I think like a lot of the movie too is just sort of like, oh, whoa, that just happened. Like, let's work with that. That looks really good and natural, right? I think a lot of it was sort of, yes, we sort of adapted on the fly because all of us didn't really know what we were getting into. I feel like, you know what I mean? Because it's a hockey movie. It's so incredibly hard to film. It really is. But I think you guys knocked it out of the park. I'm just so proud of the movie. I'm so excited to share it again, family and friends. Share it with all of Canada. I'm just so excited. It's gonna be awesome.
We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and it's certainly heartwarming to hear from people that it's relatable. We definitely think it's a real window into a slice of life of beer league hockey in South Carolina, and again, just pumped to share it with a wider audience. I'm really excited to see you next week in Toronto, and it's awesome that you were able to join us here to share your story. We're so glad that you're a part of the late game, and we look forward to continuing to work together.
Oh, me too, guys. Thank you. I'm excited. It's gonna be an awesome week in Toronto too. When's the last time you guys were up in Canada?
So we play in this Pro-Am tournament, the Scotiabank Baycrest Pro-Am, every year. So we were there for a couple days in May. I think we texted, but you were out of town or something. So it's been since May, but now I'm glad to have a reason to come back, hopefully relatively frequently.
Absolutely. You bringing the skates?
Yes. Yep. We're going to bring our skates. And then also worth mentioning, we've been getting, at least as the late game, we've been getting into the card collecting community. And I know you've posted some hockey cards and stuff. And so we're going to have GP Sports cards there on Thursday next week to do some card content with us too. And then I'll be back in Canada in November for the Card Expo that's in Toronto.
Shoot. I'm going to have to pick your brain when you're up here, Jeff. I don't know much about hockey cards. I just started getting into them because like my dad used to have a wicked collection when he was a kid, and then we couldn't find them. We thought we knew where they were the other day, but we didn't end up tracking them down, unfortunately. So, but I just, after that conversation, I was just like, man, why did it sort of skip like my friend group and my age? Like none of my friends collect hockey cards and stuff.
Part of it was that the industry was just not in a good place. Like I think when we were growing up too, and when you were growing up, like they were overprinting, things weren't as rare and valuable. And I think COVID really turned things on its head in that space. And so, we've been getting into, as a brand, like getting into going to the shows. Tyler's been doing late game breaks. So he's been doing live breaks on Whatnot a few times a week. So check those out if you get the chance. And yeah, when we're in Toronto, let's chat cards. I've been getting into it.
Beauty. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I just started getting into it. And I really don't have any knowledge on which cards are what, but I keep them all. So
awesome. No, we can school you. We can get you on a call with me, and then Dan on our team who runs our social. He's who really got us in the card world. He's a guru, so you should definitely have some time with Dan.
Awesome. Yeah. Maybe I'll bring my cards down actually.
Awesome. Well, excited to see you next week, bud, and thanks again for the time, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, man.
Anytime, boys. Thank you. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you soon.